schedule. Actually, folks have filtered in. So yeah, what the hell? Let's get her started. Welcome everyone to this week's edition of Midweek with Max. I'm Rick, as always, joined by Phil, Joshua, and the man of the hour, Mr. Max Sanchez. So we're just going to turn it over to him, and we'll start getting into questions and rock and roll, Buckaroos.
Cool. Thanks, Rick. Hey, everyone, welcome to another week of our AMA sessions. Quick updates on the tech side. So we're doing a bunch of code freezes now for some final releases for the Hemi network package. We've made a bunch of updates to TBC that we're going to be deploying to testnet very shortly. We have it running right now, and we're doing quality assurance basically on our internal DevNet for it. And then we'll be doing a testnet network upgrade. And if all goes smooth, that will be the version of TBC, at least from the HVM usage perspective, that is going to be used in mainnet. We're also doing some work on TBC for mempool handling to replace the use of previously Electromex and now electors inside of our stack. So once we get those TBC mempool updates in, basically any pop mining traffic will be fully end-to-end handled from our own software, from the pop miner up to BFG over to TBC that's connected with via peer-to-peer directly with the Bitcoin network. And so that'll be nice from a kind of a code control chain perspective of controlling all the pieces instead of relying on third-party software, stuff like Electromex or electors as part of that stack, which right now in testnet has been part of the scalability problem with all the pop mining activity, but also for mainnet, even though it'll be a lot lower load, should just be good for overall stability and being able to customize things like transaction fee estimation and things like that the pop miner will need. It's easier to get those from a TBC instance that we can write custom logic to for how we want fees to be estimated rather than having to rely on what those third-party software packages provide. So that's moving, and the mempool stuff should be in relatively soon as well, although that's lower priority than testing the TBC stuff for the HVM upgrade. Also, once we do that testnet upgrade, which should be in the near future, given the holidays this week, probably sometime early next week, we'll also be launching the Bitcoin tunnel contracts for people to play around with and test, and there will be points for those. And I think those are the main things. Also on the infrastructure side, we just moved over. We did a partial migration from our current infrastructure provider to our new one. So right now, half of the RPC traffic that people are sending, whether that's pop mining or MetaMask RPC requests or whatever, half of that's going to our old infrastructure, half of it's going to the new infrastructure, and things over there are looking good. We have had a couple reports of transactions sent through MetaMask not propagating. It seems most of them are working successfully, and there's still tons of transactions on the network. But we're looking into that before we close the maintenance period that we have ongoing for the testnet infrastructure. And with that, I think those are all the updates on my side. So if we want to if anyone on the team has anything else to share from their perspective, or we can jump into questions. Oh, also Deimos. Deimos, we launched that, as probably everyone here is very well aware, launched that late last week. And I'm not sure if we've announced onboarding numbers yet, and we'll announce something more formal later, but we've gotten a lot of people using it. And most of the legitimate users who have tried to use it have gotten through successfully. There's been a couple of edge cases. I think there's a thing with if people are homozygous twins and they both try to onboard, it actually, the way it does biometrics, it does pick up on that. And so there's a couple edge cases like that need to be manually reviewed. But overall, the Deimos onboarding for legitimate users who aren't trying to trick the system or Sybil it or like verify their 27 cousins in the same room or something like that. Most of those verifications have gone through smoothly. So looking forward to continuing to see people on board onto that. And as a reminder, Deimos is not KYC AML. We're not collecting any personally identifiable, your name, address, stuff like that. It is purely a biometrics uniqueness. And so in the back end, it basically has a hash of your biometric identification so that if you try to re-verify, and it looks at, your camera again for verification. It's going to calculate that same biometric hash and see a collision, but we're not collecting any, personally identifiable information people normally associate with KYC AML. So it's a lot more privacy preserving than the usual like exchange onboarding process, things like that. And that's why we went with Deimos as our anti-Sybil mechanism rather than doing something a little more heavy-handed. All right, I think with that, that's actually the end of my updates.
Sounds good. I'm going to double check with Phil, aka Batman, if he has any updates before we go on with questions.
Yes, I forget who gave me the Batman nickname. I think it was Hadouken. Right. Okay. Well, it's starting to stick. Yeah. So the big updates on my end. I mean, things are going absolutely fast and furious. But I can tell you that we are onboarding our KOL network this week and next. So very, very excited about that. We have finalized some sponsorships with a couple of other publishers that we're really, really excited about. Speaking of sponsorships, DL Research, you guys probably saw the report that went out last week. If not, download it, read it, share it, tell your friends. It is a very good examination of all the things that we're doing on Hemi. You can catch it at the DL Research website or in our Twitter feed. So there's that. Speaking of research, we are also entering a relationship with the good folks over at Reflexivity. So they publish quarterly reports that go, 50% professional, 50% retail, but it is also distributed across CoinMarketCap's properties as well. So a few more sponsorships on the way, but we are really, really excited to be part of that group. We unfortunately had to postpone, but next week we're going to be recording. All I can say right now, it's going to be a podcast with a major crypto publisher. That's all I can say right now, but I'm happy for that. And I'd have to say the biggest thing right now that is taking marketing's time is we are bringing in our partners into the net. So you've seen all the announcements that we've made in terms of the collaborations that we're having across Web3. Everything from oracles to Bitcoin DeFi to what have you. You've seen that we've been releasing that at a clip of about 2 a week, and right now we're just getting them prepared in terms of joint content that we can be putting out for between now and the first quarter of next year. So marketing team has been super busy, but we're really happy with the results and the content that we're ginning up. So back to you, Rick.
All right. So we're going to try something a little different here, Max, just to throw you a curveball. We've been doing this for a while now. Okay, we're going to try to harness your psychic powers. I have 8 of the same question. What question do you think it is?
Definitely technical details on HVM.
I wish.
I'm guessing faucet.
Shockingly, we only have 2 about that.
Oh, okay.
It's when mainnet.
Mainnet soon.
Okay,
Still targeting Q4, which, as everyone knows, is ending very soon. So that basically means current target is sometime in the next 4 weeks. 4 or 5 weeks. Sorry, I keep thinking we're already at the end of November because mentally I'm like blocking out Thanksgiving week. So,
oh my God, same. Yeah, and with it being a short week too in the States. But yep, that is 7 questions down. So, well, the next one you kind of had it right. It just wasn't the top one. But can we talk about the faucet?
Yep. So no new updates on that. As far as like no, we haven't launched anything new yet for the faucet. We are going to be implementing a version of the faucet that uses Deimos for anti-Sybil. So the main problem with the faucet right now, which is why it's currently offline, is every time we refill it, there is a abundance of presumably Sybil attackers. I'd be shocked if they aren't, given the patterns. And a lot of them are withdrawing to the same address, but that's not an easy fix because you change that and they just withdraw to different addresses, obviously. So we are looking at a version of that that's going to use Deimos, but it is going to take some of engineering's time. And with mainnet coming up imminently, there are more important things on the radar. But that is something that we've made a decision on how to fix the faucet, and we're trying to slot that into engineering's availability right now.
Moving on. Okay. All right. Well, Josh fed me this. I don't think this is really a question, but um, I'm off to the gym. Can you guys update me later? Yes, we can. Someone will update you later.
And we do, for anyone who doesn't know, we do post these on YouTube too, I believe, right?
We absolutely do. Yeah, we try to we post them in Discord general when they're up and running, but they're broken up into several clips across our socials. You can always find the full AMAs on our YouTube channel, which everyone should be following at this point. Because if you check out, see, it's actually somewhat incentivized. And considering most of you followed our intern, it's wild that more people are not following the YouTube because the intern brings very little to the table, in my opinion. I
It's
love
good
him.
Twitter entertainment.
Yeah, he's my favorite sidekick. Okay, so here we go. What is new in Hemi Network v0.6.0 release?
Somebody's paying attention. So the 0.6.0 release, mainly, let's see. We just did another release, which is 0.7, or we're about to do one rather. And that's going to be the code freeze for TBC for mainnet. 0.6.0. Joshua, do you want to remind me what we wanted to get in on that one before the final code freeze that we just did, or about to do?
0.6.0 contains a change to BFG, which is about to be deployed, that lets you run your own BFG daemon, and it will be able to connect the Hemi BFG to receive keystones. And then you will not need to rely on our BFG nodes in order to broadcast transactions. Instead, you'll be able to run your own Electris and BFG node and broadcast the transactions yourself without relying on our infrastructure.
Awesome. So we got that merged in. So can people, do we have our BFG infrastructure opened up for people to be able to run that right now?
It should be deployed probably later today.
Got it. Okay, cool. So we'll let everyone here know when we do that infrastructure change. But that release will let you run your own BFG node. So if you're doing pop mining and you want to put in a little bit of extra effort for more reliability, you would be able to run your own local BFG endpoint. It does require you to run Electris, which I believe requires you to run a Bitcoin full node. I know that's how we're running it. So it's a little bit heavy from an infrastructure perspective, but for anyone who wants to do that, you would now have the option to do so. So we'll definitely let people know when we update the infrastructure and enable that feature for people to run. Super cool.
I'll make an announcement when we do that, and I've started on a small guide and Docker Compose file which people will be able to use. So.
Awesome.
All right. What? Does anyone have any questions that are not mainnet related? Because I'm seeing a lot of those and we literally just covered it. Hold on one second. Okay, when will testnet be ending? I would assume that is when mainnet launches. CLL mine is CLL mining over?
CLI mining, you can still pop mining is still active. We haven't made any changes to that program. So if you want to earn points, obviously there's things you can do on chain on the L2, but pop mining is also definitely an activity you can still partake in and earn points for.
Right. And tied to mining, what's going on with the web mining? It has been offline for a long time. When will it be online again? This is coming from community members. It was sent from Ajit, but I believe that it's the sentiment that a lot of folks have been asking.
Good question.
Answer this.
Yeah, you want to take that one, Joshua? I know you're on the front lines there.
So currently the web pop miner relies on 2 third-party APIs for getting Bitcoin information. We've had some issues with those APIs, and we have been planning to deploy our own API, which it will use instead. Currently, most engineering time is put on working towards mainnet, so that hasn't happened yet, but when it will, we'll make an announcement.
But for now, if you do want to pop mine, don't hold your breath for the web pop miner. Go and try to use the CLI version. And again, today, it sounds like you'll be able to run your own BFG node. So if you really want to do pop mining with the highest reliability, you'll also have that option soon. So it is on our list to fix. Like Joshua said, it's related to that partner, or not partner, but that third-party RPC that we're using. And we hit them with so much traffic from so many pop miners that they basically blocked most or all of the traffic from our web pop mining application, unless we paid a ridiculously exorbitant amount for their API, which I won't even go into the number, but everyone was just shocked that that was even a something they thought would be reasonable. But yeah, so the goal with that is with TBC and adding the mempool into that, that'll let us basically replace electors in our full infrastructure, including being able to serve the API requests for the web pop miner. So in progress, but again, mainnet stuff is taking priority right now for engineering resources.
All right, here is one about the future. I'd like to know when the token economy will be announced, or whether there will be rewards for testnet points, and when there will be general information about the rewards.
So as you're probably familiar with for most projects, there's only so much we can say on that. So points, it is a incentivized testnet with points. That is all I can say on that front, but I think with a general understanding of how the space works with points programs, you could probably connect the dots there. As far as token economics, some of that will be announced probably I don't know the exact timing, but it'll probably be announced in stages. So the earliest of that will be the pop mining economics and how that's going to function for people who want to do or are considering doing mainnet pop mining. And some of the other tokenomics will come later. Some of them will even come very far in the future because they're undetermined yet until we launch certain features. For example, the token emissions for eventually the running your own sequencing node being part of the decentralized Hemi sequencer network. We won't have those token economics until closer to actually launching that feature, which is relatively far in the future. So it's going to be an iterative process. There's nothing public on the tokenomics right now, and also the exact way that the points program is going to be handled for phase one, the incentivized testnet, is going to partially depend on how many real people we get verified through Deimos. As in, the more real people we know we have, the more we can justify giving, more generous allocations of things to phase one participants. So I'll leave it there. I don't think I can say more on that front, but definitely stay tuned. You'll be hearing about pop mining economics relatively soon, and then the rest will follow afterwards.
All right. Oh, Phil, this is one for you from Alex. Will the AMA move on to support other channels than Discord, perhaps X? And if so, when? And will the Hemi intern be a speaker at the next AMA? I can answer the second part of that. No, he will not be.
Too dangerous.
That's the first part, though.
He's lucky you pay him. to say nothing of letting him in here. Are you guys joking? Oh, send him out to get coffee for all of us. And there's 3 different countries represented on this call. Yeah, that is a very good question, and I didn't want to make this decision unilaterally without talking to our community members first. We are very soon, maybe as soon as next week, going to move this to the artist formerly known as Twitter. So it could be this week or next, but as we get closer to mainnet, we need to be in the spaces where, so to speak, where people can discover us, right? And I love the fact that this community comes together every week. And look, I hop into similar gatherings at some other projects, and even when they've had founders, even when they've had influencers on the docket, on the agenda, the attendance is about half of what this attendance is. And I think that means something. I think that really does mean that we have a community here that is really, really understanding what we're trying to accomplish. But suffice to say, for marketing reasons, we are going to move Midweek with Max over to X as an X Spaces. That'll give us better opportunities to talk with our partners, to bring in bigger audiences, and to be more discoverable. So, again, I mean, the weekly experience, and as I'm looking at the audience number, I think this is an all-time high. The experience of Midweek with Max on the Discord has been great, and it's been very, very rewarding for the team. But I think we can all understand as a community that that we just need to be in places that are a bit more social and a bit more discoverable. Obviously, we can't do this and a Spaces because we all have important work to do for Hemi. But look forward to announcements soon, and I would really, really love to see. Look, a lot of you apparently have a habit of carving out your 11 a.m. Eastern time to be with us, and that's great. All we're asking you to do is click a different button, and you're going to get the same thing, the same update, but it's going to be a lot more marketing significant. So thanks.
And with that said, myself, Joshua, and our community moderators have been in low discussions of what to do, because we don't want to completely not have a weekly thing. So if that's something people would want, we're toying with ideas. We'll probably put up a poll in the next day with some options and let the community vote. If you want something else weekly in Discord. But as Phil said, yeah, all we got to do is just bring the same energy over to X, and we'll get even more folks in the community, and it'll be killer. But we're still going to find something for you all to do here in Discord, because, kind of where we live. we just got to move out for a little while once a week. Do we have any other questions coming in, Josh? All I'm seeing is me being memed. Oh, and Josh left. All right. Oh, he's back. Let's see. Faucet, mainnet. Faucet, mainnet. Oh, here we go. Let's see how to phrase this. Okay, here we go. Are there any other tasks other than on Galaxy? Will there be more tasks on Zeely or other platforms and additional stuff on Galaxy?
I'll throw that one over. I don't know, John Greenwood, are you able to hop in? Or I know sometimes you're only listen only for the AMAs.
Yeah, I could chat quickly. So I would put it this way: stay tuned. Leading up to mainnet, there may or may not be some additional things on there. Galaxy, yes. I mean, we add stuff every week. So definitely with Galaxy. Sealy, that's more of a DevRel platform and more developer centric platform. So probably not much more there during testnet. And then as far as like a core absinthe dashboard task, there may be one more in right after Thanksgiving. So I'll leave it at that for now. But just stay tuned, and also we'll generally anything new added we'll add to announcements. Galaxy is the only thing we don't announce, but just keep an eye on that, and you shouldn't miss anything.
All right. Do we have any other questions, guys? This is very tame for you. Is everyone okay?
So I see a lot of discussions about programming books.
my programming skill atrophied after quick basic. So
yeah,
I think that was before I knew what the word programming meant.
All right.
Yeah, and then I took a little bit of JavaScript because I wanted to learn like the duct tape of the internet. But yeah, my programming acumen ended right around the time of Quick Basic. So, but people get really, really passionate about their programming languages and their camps. It's really interesting to see.
Alpha, I will be happy to inform you none of our stack is written in Python. At least not yet. Well, you never know what the future holds, but
Malbolge.
Okay, here's two questions. We'll start with this one. Will we be able to swap? Oh my God! Sorry, a meme just popped up. Okay, sorry. Will we be able to swap the Hemi from rewards to HBTC on mainnet? Which one assets can we deposit to continue securing and participating on Hemi mainnet?
not quite sure what you're asking, but let me take a stab at it. So for mainnet, we will have, if you mean swaps in the sense of like a DEX, there will be swaps active, as in a DEX active between Ethereum assets, Bitcoin-based assets. If you're following some of the partner announcements, some of the people we're chatting with have versions of Bitcoin that are native to their ecosystems that we're looking at supporting. So not specifically saying this one, but things like a wrapped Bitcoin. So if there's, some of the Bitcoin LSTs, LRTs in the Ethereum adjacent ecosystems, we'll be supporting those and incentivizing some liquidity on them. So in general, swapping between assets on Hemi and HBTC, which will be our native Bitcoin, or other Bitcoin LSTs and LRTs, or representative tokens. Yes, if you're asking about swap as in like, does anything from Hemi mainnet translate, or Hemi testnet incentivized testing translate into HBTC? No, I got to be careful with wording here, but in the incentivized testnet, it's a points program, and those points would not convert into a Bitcoin representative token. Neither will T-Hemi. I don't think that was the question, but just to clarify. Also, for anyone, I know this hasn't come up recently, but if anyone's curious, T-Hemi, don't worry about the T-Hemi. It's not relevant. What you should care about is the points. That's what's going to get you incentives on mainnet. And so obviously we'll be able to share more details on what those are and how those actually convert and what they convert to at a later point in time. But it is the points you should care about, not the T-Hemi tokens on testnet. That being said, the upcoming testnet upgrade will be changing the POP payout logic to no longer use the old system that relied on electors as part of the BSS, BFG kind of RPC transit route we had in our stack. It'll be based on HVM's view of Bitcoin. And so you should see Hemi rewards start getting paid for pot mining correctly once we do that network upgrade. But even when you do see that, don't worry about the Hemi themselves. It's just the points that matter.
This is more a question for me just to settle whatever the hell's going on in the chat. But Max and Josh, what are your problems with Python? Because this seems to be a big argument happening. So let's just settle it.
No, Python's actually great for some stuff like quickly prototyping. I have a weird aversion to languages that give meaning to white space, and so I always manage to mess them up. And I much prefer languages that A, are at least somewhat strongly typed, and B, don't treat white space as gospel. But there are actually a lot of legitimate uses of Python. It's not for me, and it's not something that I want to see in like a mission critical blockchain project.
It's reasonable. This isn't a question, but it's a comment that I think is hilarious. These programming guys seem like the kind of people who would cheat at GTA San Andreas. Oh, Hadoop.
Oh man.
Point to Hadoop.
Josh
Check.
asked Vim or Emacs, notepad.exe.
Oh my.
No, I'm embarrassed to admit, but I use Nano for most stuff, which is, I know, a cardinal sin.
Here's a question from Joshua. I'm not sure why he typed it and not just asked it, considering it's on stage, but VIM or Emacs?
Oh, that's what I was just joking about. I actually use Nano, which is, cardinal sin. I know. we have let's see, Marco on our team is strongly Vim with some crazy extensions and all kinds of magic wizardry. And then John on our side is a staunch Emacs guy with his, probably Emacs config file he's been, keeping updated for 28 years now. So we definitely have both types on the team, but I'm not strongly in either of those camps. Great
I'm a
tools,
Notepad. I myself am a Notepad exe guy myself. So
that's the real hacker tool.
Plus for the win.
This has come up a couple times. Can you guys, excuse me, can you review the mascot submissions and tell us what you like and don't like? Any feedback? Before anyone addresses that, I do want to say that it's totally a vote. There's no judging involved. It's based on upvotes. Okay, go ahead, Phil. You sounded very emphatic about that.
we're talking about the mascot contest.
I mean,
y'all know my favorite is the. I'm gonna mispronounce the name of the submission. Jae Gong Yu. Yeah, Jae Gong Yu. That one is my favorite because it evokes Battle of the Planets and stuff that I grew up with. That one's my favorite, I'd have to say. But I don't know, except for low effort Pepe, I think these are all solid. There's a Hemi orange Pikachu. I dig that one.
I love the Go. I also can't give an opinion because I'm in here 9 hours a day and I don't want to get a barrage of tags. So I'm going to mute again.
There's a lot of cool. I love the. I don't think it actually worked as a mascot, but the one Haduku did, that's kind of styled after the Bitcoin wizards, the old OG
right.
paints. That's awesome.
Right. Magic internet money. Yeah.
Yep.
The contest and people's participation in them has been excellent. Same with the user generated content, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and honestly, it's like a testament to the community that not only are there a lot of submissions, but it's quality submissions. Because, I mean, I've seen other communities get stuck with the equivalent of like Bodie McBoatface, and we got Hemigos, and that rocks ass. So, mad props to all of you for that. By the way, thank you for not allowing us to have a terrible community name.
We got a fair number of amigos too. I mean, that's.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one. Okay, Phil, I'm gonna let you feed this one. When t-shirts? I have the same question.
Guys, I know we have been seriously delinquent on that, and basically here's what's going on. We purchased a metric ton of t-shirts going into Bitcoin Nashville, and not many people know this actually, but it wasn't until I think 20 days before the conference that we knew that we would have a space on stage, et cetera, et cetera. We didn't have a booth. We had a side event that we did. We were also sponsoring another one, and we basically, like a 1980s style, thrash band. We basically street teamed Hemi all around Nashville. And so we gave out a lot of t-shirts, and we had maybe about 5-6 varieties. We had some Hemi hats, some hunter hats, hunter camouflage with the Hemi logo on the front and the back. We had Hemi bottle cap openers. We were just all over the place. You could not, and in fact, I heard back channel that, like, for not being quote unquote official, in the gigantic sense, it was really, really tough to get a hold of us. The bad news is, the good news is we gave away a lot of t-shirts. The bad news is we gave away a lot of t-shirts. So we're working on that now. We're actually clearing out the last of our inventory because we do need to take some merch to Bitcoin MENA, the Middle East North Africa conference. That's taking place in Abu Dhabi in 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Yeah, right now we're in the process of reordering, rebuying, but we also need to tilt up some kind of merch store. So we've been looking at swag.com and others. I mean, the two variables we're looking for in a merch store is it's got to ship internationally, and if it's a product that they don't have like on their made to order menu, it has to be something that they're willing to warehouse, because we don't want to limit ourselves in that way. So yeah, once that gets tilted up, we'll be able to send out t-shirts with Wild Abandon, but right now we just don't have the administrative capacity, let alone the inventory, to get t-shirts to everybody who wants them. But we're absolutely committed to getting that done, because that is a question I get a lot for sure.
Just hold on. Let me just clarify something. No, you guys are not expected to dress like a carrot with a top hat when mainnet launches, regardless of what the intern says. So just please take whatever he says with a grain of salt. That is not canon. That's
not going to be a task on Absinthe.
I mean,
do your Deimos confirmation a carrot costume, extra points.
If you guys incentivize that, it would be the funniest thing in the world.
I kind of like Hadouken's idea of a Batman Hemi cape.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
I'd wear it.
I would really wear the cape. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions. We're all just having fun, which is great. But does anyone have any other questions, or are we just going to keep memeing each other? I just want to be transparent for the sake of people's time.
Alpha is teasing us here.
Right?
Hello, Alpha. Alpha's got a question. and TGE.
Damn it, Archie.
Actually, for there's some good legal reasons why we couldn't say that. So yeah, I mean that's something that everybody likes to ask. And when TGE happens, everybody's going to ask when exchange, which is also a question that we can't answer. So if you want to ask that question and get a response, then you have to be somebody who shares everybody else's legal risk, which I'm sure nobody wants to do. So yeah, I mean, people say that in every community I've been in, but if it's one thing I'm very proud of, in terms of the Hemi team, is that it's a program run by adults that has been there and done that and has done all these things before. So questions like when exchange, when TGE are going to be gleefully ignored until such time as everybody has that information, not just this group.
Yep, you won't hear about TGE first on a Discord AMA.
That's probably
with 41 people.
Yeah.
And that is why when people do ask about when airdrop, when this, when that, memes are immediately deployed, because let's talk about building, because we're not going to just casually drop that information for obvious reasons. Mr. Greenwood, we have one for you. I believe you may have covered it, but just in the sake of being redundant, some users are experiencing duplicate biometrics in demos when they have never done the verification. What do you make of this?
Well, so let me find out a good way to say this. Everything is prone to have an error in theory. This is unit tested at some pretty high numbers, so highly unlikely, but I've definitely seen them. Looking into them on a case-by-case basis, but I guess I'll say it for what it is. I looked at about 15 instances yesterday. All of them were blatant Sybils. So that's not to say that everyone is by any means. In fact, I found one that isn't. So I would just keep that in mind, that we know this, that we deployed the tech for a reason. On-chain analytics will definitely catch you up. So just keep that in mind. If you have legitimate issues, by all means, please create a ticket. We'll look into it. We'll, figure out exactly what's going on. But otherwise, if it's just you trying to play around, we know immediately. So. But I'll put a little bit more of a context into this in general in a little bit. I'll write up something a little bit better. But I think that's the best way I can put it at the moment. But if you are having an issue, like I said, please create a ticket. We will look at it on an individualized basis because there has definitely been a couple of edge cases so far. Overall, out of nearly 20,000 users, less than 100, and out of them, I would say probably 2 that I've seen are legitimate so far. So.
I'm going to read this question verbatim and preface it with "Don't shoot the messenger," as I do in Discord often. From Alpha. First, I want to say, I hate you, PMG. Here's my question. Let's say mainnet happens. What will you be focusing on to grow for investment purposes?
That's a complicated question. For one, I'm going to say, well, I can't make everybody happy, so I'm sorry you hate me. Whatever. Let's say mainnet happen. What will you then be focusing on to grow? Look, I see a lot of projects do everything for for the hopium, for the retail investor, for this, that, the other thing. I come from the school that if we make protocols happy, if we make other projects happy, if we convince those projects to deploy on Hemi and do cool things on Hemi that they can't do anywhere else, everyone else is made happy, right? That is the one thing I can focus on where I know I can shoot to score. is that if I make those protocols happy and give more people more things to do on Hemi, then you solve the investor relations question, you solve the developer relations question, you solve the media relations question, you solve the analyst relations question, all of the above. But the inverse is not true, right? If I did everything I could to make, let's say, a degen or a retail investor happy, or even an institutional investor, is that going to make everybody else happy? Probably not, right? And there's only so many hours in the day, and so many people working on the Marcoms piece that we have to shoot the score. So that's why the majority of my day is focused on co-marketing with other protocols, because that's how I know we are going to be the most successful. As a matter of fact, I don't think he's gotten his Discord credentials yet, but we just hired a new developer relations person. His first day was yesterday, and his mandate is to do exactly what I described. Is working with leading DeFi projects, leading protocols, and showing them what a wonderful technology and what a wonderful community we've built. So so that's the thing that we are focusing on, absolutely, positively, for sure.
Yeah, I'll add to that. Hemi fundamentally is, you can think of it as kind of an infrastructure play. We're trying to create a programmable EVM environment where people can write apps that interact with Ethereum, apps that interact with Bitcoin, apps that maybe are the same as they are in Ethereum, but they're using assets from both chains. And so, obviously we're excited to do, in-house stuff that showcases that technology. But the way we win is really getting, 100 or 1,000 projects to see what we're doing is cool, to like our platform, to want to deploy on it, to bring their own communities in, to bring their own assets and liquidity in. So that is really the force multiplier, is building great infrastructure and then getting other people excited about using it, versus focusing on a theoretical token price or whatever. It's, if we get on-chain utilization, it's creating value for retail and institutional users through apps that want to build on the infrastructure we're building, then everyone wins.
Very well said. I'm not seeing any more questions. So with that, we're going to start the wrap up. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for attending, as always. A big shout out to all our community moderators. And also welcome aboard to 2 community helpers, Anubis, who just joined on a voluntary basis based on his activity and engagement. And also the intern, who Josh made a helper, I think to spite me. So with that, we will, well, actually, let's go through the names. As always, Ajit, Alex, Avi, Creator, Foxstar, Funky, Hadu, Koki, Lyco, No Tears, Yahoos, and YYG, along with Anubis and the intern. And with that, we will turn it over to Phil and Max for a wrap up. And thank you all from my end. I will see you in general.
Awesome. Thanks to everyone for coming out to another AMA. Thanks especially to our community moderators and helpers, and everyone who's pitching in and trying to help anyone in the community asking questions and help people get to the resources they need. And looking forward to seeing everyone next week.
Ditto. Always great to hang out with everybody here.
And just for transparency, is the plan as of now, we are moving to X as of next week, or is it still TBD?
Let's give it a go. Decision made on this call with our community.
We're doing it? Is that
We're doing it?
All right. Okay, gang. So no, we are not answering when airdrop. So as of damn it. As of next week, we are moving over to X for our weekly AMAs, midweek with Max. And in the interim, if anyone has any suggestions on a weekly activity you'd like to see in Discord, like I said, myself, the community mods, the community helpers, Joshua, as always, we're going to be working on, our own ideas for a weekly activity. But we always want to hear from y'all because you guys are the backbone of the community. So if you have any suggestions, by all means, please suggest away. And on that note, thank you all again. Thank you to our guests, Phil, John, Joshua, and of course, Max. And yeah, that's it. That's showbiz, baby. We'll see ya.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.